My friends, in this video I'm going to show you my process for cutting cedar out in the woods all the way to making 2x4s. And we'll get to that right after this.
Grateful living from the soul, like my father before me. But my father said, son, you should move away. He said, farm life is dying.
literally the hardest thing of all of this for me is getting a good footing. Believe it or not, these hills, it's a lot steeper than it looks. Rolling rocks, limbs, vines. It's really hard to get a good footing and stand there and saw. The actual sawing is fairly straightforward, fairly simple. What I'm doing is I'm cutting, I cut two 8-foot logs out of here that I'm thinking I can get maybe 2x4s or 2x6s or something out of. Then I cut two more 7-foot logs that I'm just going to turn into fence posts. And the rest of this is, you could say, waste, but the way I look at it, it's habitat for the small animals. And I will when I bring my bobcat back to pick these logs up, I will push all this brush into a pile just over this bank and leave it there, and purposely do that, not because I could burn it easy. I could take it and grab it with that grapple bucket and take it out here in the open and burn it, no problem at all. But I don't want to do that, and the reason I don't want to do that is it makes incredibly good houses, habitat for the small critters, for the rabbits, the squirrels, the possums, the raccoons, the armadillos, the mice, the voles, the field rats, everything live in these things. That's why it's really good to make habitat. So many people take their forests and they sterilize them. In other words, and I'm not going to name any names, but I watch a lot of outdoor shows. I watch a lot of homestead shows, and they burn everything they cut down. They don't leave anything on the ground, and when you look out in their woods, you just see a barren floor, nothing on the floor of the woods, just trees growing and a barren floor. You also don't see any small animal critters. They won't be around, because they have to have shelter to live. And there's so many hawks and foxes and other predators, owls, and just pretty much everything, coyotes. So they all eat those small animals, and I'm giving those small animals a home. And I stand by that, and I think everybody should do that. I think more channels should get on that program rather than sterilizing their forests. Now that I've got the first tree cut up, I'm going to saw up this big cedar here. We're going to do the very same thing with it. We're going to saw it up for as much lumber as we can get out of it. The rest will be posts, and then the rest will be habitat for the small animals.
Son, please don't stay. I moved to the city and I tried to fit in. I thought of my father and how the crops would get.
Well, I have to be honest, I didn't expect it to get caught in the top of that tree that's way out there. I thought it would fall through there, and obviously I miscalculated. There's more up there than I thought. So what I'm going to do to make it easy and safe, since I've got to bring the bobcat back here anyway to pick all this stuff up, I'll just grab a hold of that with the bobcat and the grapple bucket, just take that and pull it out of the treetop up there, and be no problem at all. I'm here in the bobcat, and I just pulled that tree down. It was a leaner that was one of the first ones I cut, and you can see how we got her down, and now we're going to saw her into saw logs. My friends, I'm getting ready to load up this pile of logs. I got another pile about the same size just a little further down the trail. I hauled a pile a little bigger than this pile last night. So I've got like 3 big piles of logs like this to get up to the sawmill. These are all cedar. You can see I've got my dump trailer parked over there. I had to move it over to the side so I had room to get through with the bobcat. And the bobcat is sitting right there with the grapple bucket that I made. I'm not going to be able to film while I'm loading it because I'm just using my phone, and I don't have any way to prop this up where you could see what I'm doing out here in the middle of nowhere. I'll show you after I get them loaded on the trailer what that looks like. Well, it's windy out here, but that's what she looks like loaded up. Pretty heavy load. I'm going to get 1 or 2 more on there though before I go back to the house with this load, and the reason is that that'll just about be half of them. So I got to get 1 or 2 more on here, that way I only have to make 2 trips. We're at the second log pile, and you can see this pile's not that big now, but I've already hand loaded a couple of these smaller ones, like this one and this one I hand loaded. Those are only going to be fence posts. Those are not for lumber. Some of the smaller ones in there will just be fence posts. Really, these trees are just barely big enough to make any lumber out of, like that one there will make some lumber, but very few will actually make lumber. Well, once again, we're back at the house. You can see the big load here that I just hauled, and you can see this pretty good sized load that I hauled yesterday. A couple of these are fairly good sized logs that'll make some lumber, you know, not very many of them. A lot of them are just going to be posts, but at least we'll get something. So here's how I dump this load. Very simple. I have my little switch right here. I just lift up, and you can see it just starts lifting the whole load, no problem at all. And they'll start sliding off here. There they go. They're slid off. I've got the trailer as high as it'll go, and I'll just pull forward now, and they'll be laying on the ground. Well, there's what she looks like after pile number 2 has been dumped. And pile number 3 will probably go right here. Well, it's really windy, but here's the setup for load 3. You can see the trailer's empty and got quite a few there. That'll easily fit on the trailer though, I think. And we've got our bobcat with our gravel bucket, so I'll get those loaded up and show you what that looks like. Well, there's what this load looks like. Nice heavy load. Several of these will make some lumber. None of them are going to make a lot of lumber. And all I have to do now is drive it all the way to the end of that trail, which is quite a ways, all the way back around and then down this field and back to the shop. I could go this way back, but it's real rough and real hilly and bumpy, and with this heavy load, it's better to just go the easy way. Well, here goes the last load. The power of hydraulics and electricity. Using that battery to power that pump to dump this load. And now I'll pull forward and get them on the ground. By my count, there are 28 logs here. I would say less than half will be actual lumber. So maybe 9 or 10 of them will be actual lumber. The rest will be posts. But since I was cutting the tree down, I didn't want the rest of the small stuff to go to waste. So that's why I'm making posts out of it. Well, I couldn't be much happier with the way the sawmill performed today. I put a dent in this over here. I cut up 9 logs out of the 28, and all 9 were posts. This one here is a gate post. It's 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. The rest of these are about 4 5/8. So there's a total of 9 posts there. You can see it's 3 deep. And anyway, then I thought I'd just show you some of this thin wood that I've cut. This, just to give you some idea, this is only an 1/8 inch thick. You can see how flexible it is. It's very thin and very accurately cut. I'm very amazed at how accurate the saw is. I couldn't really be any happier. You'd have to spend a whole lot more money to get one that's any better than this one. The only drawback still would be a little bit of speed, and even the speed has improved greatly. It's really not too bad. For a one-man operation, the speed's just about all you want anyway, because you're working yourself to death, you know. But it's really not bad. It could be a little faster up and down. The only other thing that could be help me with my speed is I need to put a brake on this to slow this and stop this quicker, because I have to wait for that to spin down before I can pull it back, you know, because it could pull the blade off if you don't wait for it to spin down. So I may work up a brake system for that. But other than that, I really can't think of another improvement I need. I mean, yeah, I could make it a automatic drive through the log or something, but you know what? I don't really feel like I need that. Pushing that thing through the log is not that big a deal. It gives me a good exercise.
I could hear him say, son, you should move away. He said, farm life is dying. Son, please don't stay.
Well, I'll be the last one to say I know how to optimize the boards out of a cant like this, but I think I'm doing an okay job. I think this is going to work. What I'm going to do now is go down through and slice off 1.5-inch slices. That'll leave me with, like a normal 2x4 thickness. These will be actually 8 inches wide. And then what I'll do is I'll resaw them for 2x4s. I mean, I could use the 1x8s, I guess, but I don't really need the 1x8s. I need the 2x4s more than I need 1x8s. So we'll just go that way and see how it works. I ended up with a board here that's a little over a 1/2 inch thick, kind of a waste board, but you can always use it for something, you just never know. And the last one should be a full 2x8 like the others, like that. Now what I'm going to do is turn the worst edge up and cut the edge off, so that when I cut it down the middle, I'll end up with double 2x4s. Well, I've got all 5 of the 2x8s lined up there. I'm going to take a skim cut off the top and get rid of the worst, like there's wane and stuff on that one edge. One board has a little bit of wane on the other edge, but not enough to care about. And so I'm going to skim this off. This will leave me with 7 1/8. And then I'll move down 3 1/2. I'll split the difference basically. There'll be 3 1/2 below and 3 1/2 above, and that'll give me 10 2x4s. At least that's my plan. I hope it works.
I return for a visit.
Well, I think that did it. I think I got 10 2x4s. Well, we brought the 2x4s and a few posts in here and started a stack. I leveled the bottom stack board pretty good, 4 of them across there, 4x4s, to keep them off the ground. Then we put 6 2x4s down, a layer of stickers, and then 4 more 2x4s on top. And then I weighted all that down with these big 4x4 posts. That way, you know, they won't twist as bad. And this is just temporary because I'm going to put a lot more 2x4s on the stack. That's just a temporary thing for the next day or two until I get time to cut more 2x4s. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video. There's a lot of work that goes into making a 2x4. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do that as well. And I would appreciate it if you would share my videos out on your social media. Thank you very much. We'll see you next video.